Hey guys, it's Drac, and I've gone to 2 M13 drafts, but I finally won one, and now that I've won one, I figured I'd show the deck and the pull that I won with, because I think it's interesting to see what archetypes work in draft formats. This is my draft box. For those of you that don't know, this is the Ultra Pro double section box. I keep sleeves in here, my deck's in here right now, and then I don't keep my sideboard sleeved. And then up here I keep my lands in a little box, and I find that to be very efficient. So I think that first I'll show the cards that I didn't play or that were in my sideboard and didn't see play. So I have Smelt, Muckwaker, Prowler, Encrust, Duty Bound Dead, Public Execution, Essence Drain, Tormod's Crypt, Vile Rebirth, Giant Scorpion, Glorious Charge, Craterized Murder, Divine Favor, Ravenous Rats, Prized Elephant, Merfolk of the Pearl Trident, Archaeomancer, Harbor Serpent. Then for some reason at the store I went to, they drafted lands. I saved this because it was a good token for one of my cards, and I really liked the art on it. I also had Serpent's Gift and Reckless Brute. Now out of all of these were the three that I sideboarded in occasionally. Now, I used those because my deck is primarily red-green, and in fact it's entirely red-green. Alright, so here are my extra sleeves. I got some tokens that I thought were cool. I didn't actually pull these, but my table gave them to me. I got the Worm token and the Hellion token, both of which I think are cool, especially since they are both by the same artist. It's hard to see there, but they're both Anthony Francisco pieces, and I think that that's really neat. I use standard matte black sleeves just because it's pretty stupid proof and it works really well for draft. Nobody ever gets confused. Alright, so I will lay out my cards. I have some good green utility cards. I've got Prey Upon, Titanic Growth. I'll lay out my mana base kind of back here. Sentinel Spider. This card is nuts. It's a common 4/4 with Vigilance and Reach, and it's only a 5-drop. This card was pushed, so I'll put that over here. It's a creature. I have a Centaur Courser. That's pretty vanilla, 3/3 for 3. Mindclaw Shaman, which I think is pretty good. Forest, I got one ring that was on color, so I decided to play it. This was the nuts. I got to play a Planeswalker, so I got Garruk Primal Hunter. There's 3 more forests. Timberpack Wolf. Now I think this card is fine on its own because it's a 2/2 for 2, so it's basically just a bear, and you need those in any draft deck just to round out your card, but it does have an upside if you can get other wolves on the field. I do have one more in here, so that's pretty cool. Goblin Arsonist is just a great utility card. Mountain and a Forest. Naturalize, awesome card in limited. Just really, really good. 2 more mountains. I'm not sure if I like this. I didn't have a ton of green-red at my table. Now, I drafted green-red because my rares basically told me I had to draft green-red. So I played the Chronomaton because I needed something colorless, and it definitely helps work with the curve. I didn't always like it. It wasn't always an all-star, but it was interesting. Flames of the Firebrand is just an awesome card. It can be a 3-for-1 at times, which just makes it sick. There's the other Timberpack Wolf. I have a Forest and Fog. Fog is an okay card in limited. A lot of players like to overdraft Fog. I actually played it specifically because I didn't have a ton of strong green. Flint Hoof Boar is just the nuts in a red-green deck. On turn 3 it can have haste. On turn 2 it can just be a 3/3 body. So it's pretty awesome. Garruk's Pack Leader, I'm sad I never got to hit the table with him, but he's really cool. Arbor Elf, which is awesome. It's just ramp. Searing Spear is great for utility. Forest, another Arbor Elf. Plummet, which doesn't seem great, but this format has a lot of flyers in it, and I don't have a ton of answers to flyers, so I did main deck my Plummet. More of these. Thundermaw Hellkite, which just wins games. He almost always hits for 5, unless your opponent has a Plummet. And then I call him the Sleepy Dragon, but it's the Slumbering Dragon. This card is broken. I had an opponent who pacified him and swung with soldier tokens multiple times, and I was like, that's really cool. Now that my dragon is like an 18/18, I'm gonna naturalize the pacifism and swing for game. So that was a really fun way to win. My opponent didn't see it coming. And then I have 4 more mountains. So that was my draft deck. It was pretty ridiculous. I mean, it's obvious why I won the draft. Garruk is really, really good in limited because he protects himself and does a lot of things. I will lay out my mana base real quick just so you understand kind of how I do that. And I played more forests than mountains because my curve was mostly green. So I almost always try to play 17 lands, especially in a deck like this where everything curves out nicely. So I have 8 mountains, which means I know I have 9 of the forests. And I do. So that was my draft deck. I think that this is a really good archetype in M13, just kind of red, green beats, and if you do get stalled out, there's enough burn in this format to kind of like hit for those last 3 to 6 points of damage usually. I think that red-green is very strong. I'll probably try drafting it again in the future. I will likely never be lucky enough to have a Garruk in my draft again, but this was a really good draft. I figure it's worth making videos when I win drafts to show what I think works and what's strong in the format. If you guys are at all interested in this type of video and you'd like to have me post more of my draft decks, whether they're really good or really weak, and just kind of comment on why I think they play the way they do, or if you guys would like to see actual gameplay videos, absolutely let me know in the comment section below. I'd really like to do more Magic the Gathering themed videos, and I need your help with that. So thank you very much for watching. If you're listening to me right now, you listened to 6.5 minutes of me talking about a children's card game, which I really enjoy, but you might not. So thank you very much for watching, and I appreciate your viewership.